Hello again, my dudes. This is Kadima back with another build video for Elden Ring. In this case, we'll be playing and cosplaying as a Death Knight, making use of its weapons and the benefits of wearing its armor. Keep in mind I've made a few changes as I was using this build, so in certain scenarios, certain examples, you will see that I'm using certain spells, and in the other thing I'm doing using other spells. But ultimately, this is the version that I would recommend using for this particular build, both for PvE and for PvP. Probably in PvP this would be better suitable for, or more suitable for, invasions. In the arena, people tend to play more carefully. They don't really jump into the action, especially when you're playing invasions. There's 2 versus you, 3 versus you, so people tend to be more aggressive. In the arena, not so much, so some of the spells won't really make sense. I didn't really do any invasions because I just wanted to get this build finished, but I'll give you an example of a PvE fighting the Black Knight as usual, and a few examples of how it performed in the arena. Let's talk about the equipment. So I'm using the Death Knight Twin Axes and the Death Knight's Long-Halved Axe. For spells, I'm using Gravel's Stone Seal on both hands, because you get a bonus when you cast your spells while holding both of them. You can always cast just with your left hand if you prefer, but you will do more damage when you're casting with both hands. For the equipment, we are using the Death Knight armor set. Each piece enhances the skills of incantations of the capital's ancient dragon cult, so this affects spells from that category. Also, we'll be using the complete set, as I just said. For talismans, we'll be using the Shard of Alexander, specifically because the weapon art of these two is actually quite good, or the Ashes of War, or the skill, whatever you want to call it. Lightning Scorpion Charm, because most of our damage contains lightning on both weapons, and some of our spells come with lightning as well, so a little bit of boost to the lightning attack. The Phlox Canvas Talisman greatly raises potency of incantations, so our spells will be stronger. And Godfrey Icon, because enhances charge spells and skills, so this affects everything that you do with its charge, and the spells we are using will be charged, most of them, so it's always a good thing to have. For the flask, I recommend using the Lightning Shrouding Cracketeer for temporarily boosted lightning attacks, and the Cerulean Hidden Tear, because in that case, if you're fighting a boss, the best thing to do is just buff with the Uplifting Aromatic, so you can buff your Mimic as well, and then you use the flask and all your spells will be doing a lot more damage, and you can spam spells a bit more. Because you are charging those spells, you ain't gonna cast like 5 or 6 casts for free, but the first 3 or 4 should be for free, and that's quite a good advantage to have, especially in PvE. You can always use this in the arena if you are playing ordeals, not in duels, but it's entirely up to you. When it comes to the spells, as you can see, I am using the new spell with the Knight's Lightning Spears, and then I got a few more spells with lightning. As you can see, I got the Golden Vow as well, and healing, just to be cautious, because you always run into the funny person in the arena that wants to heal, and that's fine, and if that's what they do, I will do it. Just keep in mind I normally only do it against people that do that. As for the build itself, Vigor at 60, Mind at 25, just so we have enough FP to cast a few spells without having to recharge. Endurance at 32, it's more than enough for this build. Strength at 24, Dexterity 13, Intelligence 9, Faith at 60, and Arcane at 7. Most of our weapons, when it comes to the axes, they actually scale better in especially the big axe scales better in strength. That's why we got some points in strength, but mostly are concentrated on faith. This build could potentially be optimized if it was more strength than faith, and you would have no spells and you would just focus on the damage from your weapons, but I would rather use it this way. Again, in the end, it's entirely up to your preference what you wish to do. In any case, let me give you an example of how the weapons work. So you want to have them two-handed, you want to blink, and then R2 for the spin to win, blink, R2, spin to win. You can actually do this in different right directions as well. You can swap around. This is quite good to catch people off guard. With the axe, it's the blink and then a leaping attack to a smash with a little lightning bolt falling from the sky. For the spells, I like to keep Death Lightning just because if you manage to hit anyone with this spell, it normally is instant kill, especially if you charge it completely. And it's very hard to hit with this thing. During invasions, I don't know, I didn't really test it to be honest. But I managed to hit someone in the arena because I think they were just about to troll me, and I don't think they expected what happened. As for the lightning, the Night Lightning Spear, this thing can actually one-shot people if you manage to hit all of the bolts on target. This is even more visible and more probable to happen if you cast the Golden Vow first, and then you fully charge the Night Lightning Spear while holding both seals in your hand. Don't forget to do that. In PvE, this thing just melts bosses' HP bars. In any case, let me give you an example of how the build performs against the Black Knight and a few rounds in the arena. So starting with everybody's favorite victim, we summon the Mimic as usual, healing, then cast the Golden Vow to buff both me and the Mimic. We're all happy and buffed. Little bit of aromatic perfume, and then we are going to use the flask and then just spam the lightning stuff, and this thing, as you can see, just does a ridiculous amount of damage each time it hits. And unfortunately the Mimic doesn't even land any hits of note. He misses every time for whatever reason, but he does work as a target, so I'm happy with that. I was planning that this would do a lot more damage. It didn't really do anything, which is funny, but then I just went with spamming the lightning bolt and the guy was dead with the help of the Mimic. Now for the arena, few good fights. Keep in mind that I do use Golden Vow if I can. If I have enough space, I'll try to use Golden Vow and aromatics as well, just to buff myself a little bit. Now I noticed this guy really wanted to get rid of that thing. I was hoping he was running towards me and this would hit. It was not the case. In any case, I did manage to hit it, to hit one guy with that thing, which is pretty extraordinary on its own, because no one really falls for that trick, at least not in the arena. Here I am, I'm trying to get him from behind. I'm trying to teleport behind him and then do the spin to win, but it wasn't working because he wasn't attacking too much, and he was just using the backhand blind spot. Here I am, Golden Vow of course, and aromatics if I can. I even taken the Exalted Flesh by mistake. In any case, let's go on the offensive, trying to outspace our opponent, and maybe teleport behind his back. He's using the Fire Knight Great Sword, which is actually a very scary weapon. I do manage to connect there. It does quite a bit of damage, but nothing extraordinary. As I said, this build is not designed exclusively around the damage with the weapons. If it was to be the case, I would go a bit more strength, not so much faith, but I wanted to be a bit more focused on the faith for the spells, and that's what I did. Although the damage with the weapons is quite good, I'm not going to say it's terrible, because it's not. Quick swap to the Great Axe in the process of the running. I'm trying to hit him with something, and boom, GG. The follow-up with the lightning for the win. As for this guy, fair play for letting me use the Golden Vow. I use a little bit of aromatic for that little shield, because I know it triggers people. People hate that shield. I don't blame them. I hate it too. In any case, here we go. Blink. Little teleporting. Spin to win. I wish Milady worked the same when I use it, but it doesn't. Or maybe I'm just bad with it. Could be the case. Anyways, he's staying quite aggressive. He's staying quite on top of me. I'm trying to get the teleport behind him again, but I'm not doing so well. So I'm going to try to teleport with this thing behind him and then get the win. But it's not going to happen. I'll just charge R2 and get the win. Here we are, ready to fight. Knight Solaire. I'll buff if he's giving me space. If he's giving me enough space, I will buff. He's using backhands, so when I see people using backhands, my first thought is, okay, Swift Slash. Lucky wasn't the case. But I'm trying to keep him on his toes just by teleporting closer to him, so he can't predict when I'm actually gonna go with the follow-up. He jumps right in front of me. I do another blink and I follow up with the attack. So I think it's time to finish this off with a lightning spear. Boom! Headshot. GG. This guy here, I actually fought this guy quite a few times because I lost the first round and I got pointed down, which wasn't very nice. So I challenged him for a rematch, and we ended up fighting like 10 matches. It was a good challenge. Ultimately, I did win more than I lost, but I'm hoping I'll rematch him at some point again in the future. He's using the Great Katana, which is actually quite a dangerous weapon. I don't know how the hell he didn't hit me there, but well, I take it. 800 damage with the blink to spin to win to follow up R1. I'm gonna change to the big X. I'm trying to outspace him, but it's not going so well. In this case, I'm gonna finish him off with a Knight Spear. Boom, 892 damage. And that one was not charged. Another one of our duos was this one, which was actually probably the fastest one of them all, because he was playing extremely aggressive, and I decided, okay, in that case I'm going to stay close as well, and I'm going to try to just outspace him. I did, as you noticed, I didn't go with a follow-up with the R2 there. The idea was that he wouldn't predict this one, so I could actually go for the win, and it did go quite well. As for this guy, I always find it strange when people play naked. I think they just like to dodge and roll really fast. I got hit by the delay of the follow-up of the Ashes of War, which was very strange. I thought it had dissipated by then. It didn't. He's insisting on the running R1s, so I'm just gonna smash R1 into his face. For some reason he decided not to participate much more, so I'm gonna get him with the roll catching follow-up of the Knight's Lightning Spear. As for this guy, of course I'm gonna use Golden Vow and Aromatic if I can, if he's giving me the space. Perfect. I noticed that he buffed as well. All good. I don't have a problem with that. Even if I'm not using any buffs, I always allow my opponent to buff. I don't have a problem. He's two-handing a Fire Knight Great Sword, which is very scary because that thing hits very hard. But I managed to outspace him quite correctly here, and then I managed to get the smashing R2 with the X following the blink. But I wanted to finish him off in a funny way, so I actually managed to trap him into running close to me so I could use the Lightning Strike. Good fight. Now this guy, I immediately noticed that he was wearing a lot of heavy stuff, so I had a feeling he would be fat rolling, but I wasn't too sure, so I wanted to actually see if he was fat rolling, so I just casted a spear, and oh my god, he is fat rolling. So in that case, GG bro. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Cheerio.